Hello everyone, Tmmgamer here, and today I have the pleasure of bringing you another one of my football talk videos, the series where I sit down and talk about the happenings in real life football around the world. And obviously today the World Cup is still going on, so a lot of these stories are going to be focused on the World Cup. And the first one I want to talk about is related to Arjen Robben. And Arjen Robben has been under a little bit of criticism over the last day or so for his supposed diving against Mexico. And this is a story that follows on from something I've discussed a little bit before. I've talked about diving a bit before and how I think retrospective punishment should be introduced for diving, because under the laws of FIFA, only serious foul play can be looked at retrospectively and punished, and diving and yellow cards do not count as serious foul play. And this is something in the wording of the laws that I personally would like to change. But before I get onto that, let's talk a little bit more specifically about Arjen Robben's incident himself. Now, he came out, or was quoted in coming out, as saying to a Dutch newspaper that he was sorry for diving. Now, he said that he felt that the penalty that he was awarded was a penalty, but earlier in the game, in the first half, he had dived to the floor, basically, and he came out and said sorry for that. His quote was, the one was the end at a penalty, I was fouled. At the same time, I have to apologise, as in the first half I took a dive and I really shouldn't do that. That was a stupid thing to do, but sometimes you're expecting to be struck and then they pull their leg away at the last minute. Obviously the Mexico coach was very unhappy with this. He said that Robben had dived 3 times and he should have been booked. And if you book a player early, are they more likely to stay on their feet later on in the game? Would he have gone down for the penalty later on? These are all hypothetical situations, but I certainly agree that diving needs to be punished. Now, to be honest, I don't think Robben was that bad. I thought it was a penalty. I don't think he dived for that. The first half, it's one of them. It's not a full-on dive, but he was sort of looking for the foul. It didn't really happen. It's one of those murky ones. The ones that I absolutely hate, for example, are... well, the one that immediately springs to mind is the Branislav Ivanovic dive. When it was last season, it was just... he went down like he'd been shot. There was no one anywhere near him. It's just unbelievable. When something's that clear-cut, it should be retrospectively punished. And this is where I actually think it should overlap into the serious foul play, because serious foul play, for me, is anything that is either dangerous or unfairly trying to gain an advantage through breaking the laws. And obviously, a dive is nowhere near as bad as a bite, as we've seen in the recent days, or a two-footed tackle, or any of those things. But this is a problem in the game, and it's something that I don't think anybody particularly enjoys watching. Nobody wants to see people dive. They want to see people win fairly and beat players with skill and score good goals and play good football. And for me, diving doesn't play a role in that. And a lot of this is due to refereeing as well. I mean, actually, the standard of refereeing has improved a lot throughout the tournament, but those early games, there were some terrible refereeing decisions, and referees just, I don't think, are that clever when it comes to giving free kicks. There are so many soft free kicks, and this is the problem. When you give a free kick for somebody basically breathing on another player, it encourages players to go down more, because they can see, right, the referee gave a foul for that earlier, so I can just like try and get a little bit of contact and go down, and he'll probably give a free kick to me again. And that's when they try and play the referee. And one of the things that I like about what I've seen from the referees in the recent part of the tournament is that they're actually letting the play go on a little bit, because one of the reasons why I don't watch Spanish football is that there is a foul every 20 seconds. There's a foul. Your people go down, they're rolling around, holding their ankles, all the players surround the referee, and then 5 seconds later he's up and he's making a darting run down the line to try and get on the end of a pass. And it's just, what, are you kidding me? I'm tired of seeing that. And this is one of the major reasons why this tiki-taka stuff was so popular. It was because Barcelona got insane protection from the referees, and if anybody tried to put a serious challenge in, they'd go down. Busquets would, go down holding his ankle, and there'd be a free kick. And for me, it's definitely counterproductive. It really is counterproductive. Football is a contact sport. It has always been a contact sport, and you should be able to put a strong challenge in and not get a foul given against you. And if we start to see those strong challenges being let off, then I think diving would slowly begin to become less of a problem, because players will realise that they're not going to get these free kicks for going down very, very softly, so they'll stop doing it and they'll try and stay on their feet more often. And if they stay on their feet more often, we'll hopefully get a more honest game. So I think diving is certainly a problem, but it's got to be approached from a numerous array of angles. You can't just do one thing. You can't just say, right, we're going to ban people who dive and that's it. It's the whole, standard of refereeing and the way games are refereed around the world that certainly needs to be improved. But for me, if it's an incredibly blatant dive, and we've, the one I gave was the Ivanovic one. Before, I can remember when the last time, I think it was UEFA actually, who tried to issue a ban for somebody who dived. It was Eduardo in the Champions League game for Arsenal. That was a blatant dive. They should change it, that blatant dives are serious foul play and they should carry a 1-game ban or a 2-game ban. Obviously, we want to keep it lower than a red card challenge, which is like a dangerous tackle, because that's obviously a lot worse than diving. But diving is becoming a little bit of a scourge, and so many of the world's top players regularly dive. It's just not needed. It really isn't needed. So they could easily put that in there. Ban them, fine the club as well, and that would very, very quickly see diving become less and less of a problem. If they dive to win a penalty in a semi-final of a Champions League and they get retrospectively banned for the final, perhaps they wouldn't dive quite as often if it was actually going to be a punishment. And again, we can do the sliding scale thing. First offence, 1 game. Second offence, 2 game. Third offence, 4 game. Fifth offence, we'll actually start to increase the punishment severely to try and stamp out the problem of divers, and I think that would definitely work. But that's enough on diving, enough on Robben. The last thing I wanted to talk about again is an unfortunate news story, and the World Cup has had quite a few unfortunate news stories. It's had the Suarez bite, it's had the diving, like I mentioned, it's had the bad refereeing at the start of the tournament. I do think the refereeing's improved dramatically since then. It's had Muntari and Kevin Prince Boateng getting sent home from the Ghanaian team for abusive language, and actually in Sully Muntari's case, a physical attack on a member of the coaching team, which is unusual to say the least. And again today we've had news coming out about Cameroon, and it's rumoured that Cameroon are under investigation for match fixing. Most notably, and the key one, is their 4-0 defeat to Croatia in their first group game in Manaus on the 18th, I think it was. Apparently, and this is a very, very strong apparently, there is this notorious match fixer, and this is something that I really didn't understand, because apparently this guy has written books on who he's swindled and the FAs he's got underneath and all of this dodgy stuff, basically. Why is this guy not in prison if this is all true, and if you can publish a book saying this? He was tried in Finland for a year, and then he went to Hungary to help with some match-fixing investigations, and Singapore want to get him extradited, but apparently he can't because they don't have an extradition treaty between Hungary and Singapore, or Finland and Singapore, which surely you think would just be solved in the phone call. It's like, we want to, this guy is a proven match-fixer, you have issued a sentence to him, we want to try him in a court of law, could you send him over? Yeah, that's fine, we'll get him on the next plane. Surely that is something 2 civilized nations can get together to sort out. It's not really a problem, is it, that really? So that's a bit strange. But this allegation specifically involves him talking apparently on Facebook to a Der Spiegel journalist. Der Spiegel's a well-known magazine in Germany, and he was predicting before the game that Cameroon would lose 4-0 and a player would get sent off in the first half, and he said this is what's going to happen, and lo and behold, it happened. And it's one of these slightly strange stories that this could be a guy just blowing his load, just going making off outlandish predictions, and he happened to get one right. Alternatively, it could be that he's actually fixed these guys, and this is what the investigation is going to be about. And FIFA, being FIFA as they always are, they're firmly on the fence, not really doing much. They're not even prepared to confirm or deny whether Cameroon are being investigated. That's how little action is seemingly going on at FIFA. But it's one of those, it's very, very strange, this one. And also, the thing to bear in mind is, if this game was going to be fixed, the player, well, one of the players, because apparently 7 are rumoured to be investigated, one of these 7 players who would have had to be involved is Alex Song. And Alex Song was the player who got sent off in the first half, if you can remember. So this is a Barcelona player. He is not on an insignificant amount of money a week. How much money would he have had to be offered for this to happen? I mean, 100 grand, 200 grand, that's like a month's wages. That's nothing for these people. You know, I can't see it personally that Alex Song would do something that stupid. You know, he did elbow him. It's not exactly bright, but match fixing, you know, there's a big difference between a rush of blood and a stupid decision and being involved in match fixing, and it will be interesting to see what comes out here. And again, FIFA at the moment are very, very reluctant to say anything about what they're doing, so it might take a little bit of time for this to get resolved. And this is the problem with match fixing. You know, we have got a guy who was basically bragging in an autobiography about how much he fixes football matches, yet he's not behind bars. It's just like, what are we doing with this? Surely world football can pull its finger out and actually put this guy in prison for the things he's done, or, you know, actually do something about fixing these football matches. It's not ideal. And again, like I mentioned, another negative news story to come out of the World Cup, and it's not what we need, because the football on the pitch has been fantastic. You know, there's already been more goals scored in this World Cup than there was in the entire South Africa World Cup, and you know, we still haven't even finished the last 16. There's still 2 round of 16 matches to come tonight. So we've got a lot of games to come featuring some very, very good attacking teams. So there's going to be a huge array of goals scored. So I'd much rather be talking about the football, but this is what you got to talk about. You know, these are important things. You know, diving and match fixing are 2 big problems in the game, and you know, unfortunately, both seem to have reared their ugly head at the World Cup. But once again, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. As always with these videos, I'd be definitely interested to hear what you guys have to think on both the stories. Do you think diving should be punished harshly? How bad a dive was Robben's? Was it even a dive at all? And with Cameroon, do you think this is match fixing? Is it something that needs to be dealt with more harshly and more proactively, or do you think in the grand scheme of things it's quite a small problem? But once again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.